government says it wants to see cruise ships sailing again by Christmas. International cruise ships have been banned from entering Australia since the start of the pandemic in March 2020, when a number of serious outbreaks occurred on board cruise ships here at home and overseas. The biosecurity ban will remain in place until at least December 17. Health Minister Greg Hunt says the government is working with states and territories to allow the industry to restart.
We're reviewing that right now, precisely on the basis of the 90% plus first vaccination rate and the 83% second vaccination rate. And so I expect to be able to make a decision on cruise ships in the coming weeks once we've got the medical information, but it will require at least one state or territory to partner on that, but we're working with a number of states and territories. We'll let them make their own considerations, but we would like to see cruising back on before Christmas.
Joining me now live to discuss is Joel Katz, CEO of the Cruise Lines International Association. Joel, thank you for joining me. What's your response to this?
Good afternoon. Good to be with you again. The Minister's comments are very encouraging. I don't think we're going to see ships back in Australia before Christmas. The cruise lines have got very long lead times, 8 to 12 weeks to get the ships back up and running, crew back on board, vaccinated, and get those ships down to Australia. So we're hoping we'll see those ships before Easter.
So you think that Christmas restart date is a little too optimistic at this stage?
Look, it would be great if the biosecurity ban is lifted on December the 17th, as the Minister's indicated. But at the same time, we still have a lot of work to do with the states and territories, as he mentioned, to finalise the COVID-safe protocols that the industry has presented. So we need to work through that with the state governments, and hopefully we can get those ships back before the end of the summer.
Have there been any negotiations with any of the states and territories about a potential restart? I understand that New South Wales is under consideration.
Yeah, the New South Wales Premier has been very vocal about the importance of cruise tourism as part of the broader tourism economy. So we are waiting for the opportunity now to sit down with New South Wales Health to work through the protocols that we presented so that we can get some confidence to those cruise lines to start the process of bringing the ships back, give confidence to the guests that their holidays in 2022 will be going ahead. And of course, confidence to all those thousands of suppliers who rely on the cruise industry for their livelihoods.
Absolutely. And I guess one of the big questions is, what will cruising look like, Joel?
Yeah, so the industry has done a lot of work over the past 18 months to develop a really comprehensive set of COVID-safe protocols, probably the most comprehensive out of any sector within travel and tourism. We've already seen those protocols in place. More than 82 countries are now seeing cruising restart. More than 3.7 million passengers have successfully cruised under the same protocols. And that's everything from the vaccination and testing before you get on board, the onboard public health measures that we're all getting used to, the capacity restrictions, the contact tracing, registering as you go into each of the venues. And then, of course, all those behind the scenes aspects of cruising, the ventilation systems, the food and beverage service, and of course, the medical facilities on board.
What happens if somebody on board a cruise ship tests positive? What are the protocols in place?
So we've seen the protocols work really effectively in other countries where there have been cases detected on board. Obviously, those passengers have been isolated. The close contacts have been identified and isolated. The ships will have testing facilities on board, and those people have been able to be well looked after. Of course, with most people vaccinated on board, it means that there are no sort of serious illnesses, and the rest of the passengers are able to continue their cruises unaffected.
Are you finding that people are already pre-booking in advance for an eventual restart, or are people still holding off and waiting for a firm date?
No, we're hearing from the cruise lines that they're back to pre-COVID booking levels. And more importantly, or you could say more worryingly, many Australians are saying if they can't cruise at home here in Australia, they're going to be flying overseas to us to cruise, which will be such a disappointment for all those suppliers around Australia who rely on the cruise industry for their livelihoods.
Absolutely. Well, fingers crossed for a better year next year. Joel Katz, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.